Dun, 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 dun. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum. What's up, party people in the house?
What up, though?
Welcome to Axis Live, one of the sexiest voices in the SFL,
Mr. Master.
Dave Axis. Why is my camera not working? No. Maybe I did. Let me see. Anything's possible. Oh, hey, party people, what's up? Apparently, we have a little technical difficulty. What's up, party people? Can you guys actually hear me? Oh, and now you can see me. I see myself anyway. Do you guys see me? Did it knock my ninja off, maybe? Oh, I got the wrong one. What's up, everybody? Look at this. Isn't this fun? How about that? Hey, like them apples. Do you like apples? How about them apples? Now they can see me? Should I move my camera? Look at this. All this stuff we get to do while the show is live. What's up, party people? Let's see. Let's see. Are people talking about it in here? Let me see. Damn, off the rails already. Well, you know, Chad. That's what happens when you're not here. Anyway, welcome to season 16, episode 3 of Axis Live, everybody. Good to see you here. I'm your host, Dave Axis. We have another amazing show lined up for you tonight. We've got another brand new panel to preview the SFL's Week 2 games, the matchups that we have coming up this weekend. We'll also be crowning our first Diva of the Week from Week 1. And of course, we've got the wisest man in the SFL and his pearls of wisdom here. Gunny will be with us tonight, and another very special guest in Access After Dark, Mr. Mike St. Green will be with us to discuss his Week 1 in the booth with Commissioner Cameron Irvine this weekend. I'm going to adjust my camera again anyway because I don't like the way it is. There you go. That's better. I like that better. What's up, party people? Can you see me well? Can you hear me well now that I actually have my act together, or what? All right. Let's check the party people while we're here. Hey, there's a show tonight. That's right, Robert. You're not on it, but you'll be back next week, it looks like. All right, let's see. Hubba Breezy, you're in the house. What's up? Bullet Boletsky. Freddie's here. Boomberry. Kendra, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Bo Martin Jr.'s in the house. Crazy Eights. Dwayne, good to see you, buddy. Bearded Android's here. The lovely and amazing Pink Lisa's with us. Doug Day. What's up, Dougie? How you doing, bro? How you feeling? Hope you and the wife are doing well. Eagles here, Benji, Art Vandalay, of course, Coach Bob Funk is in the house. Jeff Gagne's with us. Gunny is here. Alan from Charleston's here. David Leathers. Good to see all you. Who else we got here? Mike All. Who else we got? Dun, 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 dun. Kevin Say's here. Kevin Say's in the house. Is that about it right now? Let me see. Am I missing anybody? I try not to miss anybody. Robert, of course. Hey, Geralt Winkler's in the house. That's weird. Andre Krim, the Krim Reaper's here. Jeremy Vega showed up. Dave Axis gets the light shining down on him for his background, and his panel gets 90s computer graphics behind them. Hey, that's why it's called Axis Live, bro. Chad is here. This is what happens when Dave doesn't have sleeves on. Actually, look, I got sleeves. I've always got sleeves, bro. And B.E. Robo, my boy. B.E. Robo's here. Jeff Farnsey just showed up. And it looks like Max Jackson and Tom Rahman, along with Chris Lee and Bryant Dynasty, all sneaking here at the very last second. Good to have you all here with the show. This is episode 3 of season 16, Axis Live, and we're putting the emphasis on live nowadays. So let me get to the panel. Let me tell you who's going to be breaking down these week 2 games this weekend. First, in the unscripted circle, we have one of the sexiest voices in the SFL, the host of Coach's Corner, the head coach of the glorious Lone Star Glory, Coach Craven is here. Coach, what up?
Welcome to Coach's. Oh, sorry, I got I got on the script there. If I'd have known I was going to be the unscripted guy, I wouldn't have done all this work that I did. I would have just made stuff up.
Just could have gone off the cuff instead.
Communication is key here.
That's all right. You know what? We're trying to work out all these bugs anyway. Kind of like me not having my camera on when we start the show. Coach, welcome back. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Also with us this evening in the unfiltered circle, Mr. Arizona Everything, the Hall of Famer from Arizona, Mr. Eddie Gage. Eddie Gage, what up, though?
What up, though, Dave? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, bro. You moved into your new house?
Yeah, I'm all settled in, still unpacking, and well, as my wife would say, she's unpacking, but we get it all together.
Well, I'm glad to see you have your priorities straight at least.
No, it's a team effort, man. I'm gonna get going here. I'm just working on my playbook right now.
There you go. Also with us tonight in the unedited circle, the general manager for the Vancouver Legion, who had a very impressive week 1. Mike Percoco is with us. Coco, how you doing tonight, bro?
Who? Who?
Who? Who?
This budget basic B? Is that who you're talking about?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
How we doing, Dave? How we doing, chat?
Doing great. Doing outstanding. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here tonight.
And first of all, I gotta say, I'm really proud that Eddie's doing so well for himself that he has those large vaulted ceilings in his house.
You can hear the echo, right?
It's they must be like 30 feet
Oh.
high in there.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe he's in the Hall of Fame right now. Are you at the Hall of Fame, Eddie? Maybe that's the echo.
I was there earlier, but made the flight back home.
Okay, there you go. Attaboy. All right. And last but certainly not least, in the unforgettable circle tonight, we have someone who is unforgettable and someone who forgets that we even have a show from time to time and can never figure out the actual time. The assistant GM from Jacksonville, Mike All, is with us. Mike, I'm glad to see you actually made it on the right day and you made it on time.
What's up? I'm just here so I don't get fined.
That's I think that's pretty much all of you, right? All right, Mike, thanks for being here, bro. Appreciate it. Real
Yep.
quick, before we dive into these week 2 games, I want to let you know we at Access Live have a crew of about 16, 17 people who will be sharing the spotlight this season. You're seeing, I think you've seen 12 different ones of them now. This includes myself, Winkler, Eagle, Gunny, everybody. What we did is we put together a survey that we started this week, and we're going to do it every week. And it is going to be called the Axis poll, basically the AP poll. And yes, we did a play on words on purpose for those of you who are grammar police. It says, "Welcome to the Axis poll," or AP, as it will be known as. Teams will slide up and down the poll, easy, Michael, as the season goes on based off the eye test of our esteemed group of panelists. What we did is everybody ranked what they feel are the current power rankings, the current teams ranked in order as of week 1. And this is what we've come up with. So that's the ranking you're going to see next to every team as we go along the graphics. Look at Jeremy Vega making it rain, throwing out dollar bills, y'all. Atta boy. So as you can see, and just to the left of the poll, Denver at the top, all the way down to DC, everybody in between. Those are the rankings week by week we will be showing on the graphics as we preview and recap games. So just to let you know, last week we did the ELO ratings, but it's a little more convoluted. Plus, that's a whole franchise history thing. So we wanted to come up with something more current, and so that's what we're going to be doing for the graphics. Also wanted to Eagle, I'm not repeating that on the air. Wanted to also remind you, and I'm gonna tease it at the end. Slyn Shady has his weekly power rankings article coming out tomorrow in the SFL Discord. He was nice enough to sneak me 5 of them, so I will tease that at the end of the show, sometime between maybe the Pick'ems and Diva of the Week, or maybe after dark. With Mike St. Green coming on. So anyway, that's the other thing. Don't forget, Mike St. Green will be on tonight. We'll actually be able to ask him, hey, what's it really like working with Cam? Especially since Cam won't be here. So maybe he'll tell us the truth. All right, let's get into these games. Week 2, season 16 of the SFL. First game on the docket, the 16th Axis poll ranked Los Angeles Lycans are traveling to the 20th ranked Houston Hyenas. LA had a great opening weekend. Houston had an L, but I thought they were actually pretty impressive, Coach, when they traveled to Jacksonville. Tell me how you see this game coming out this weekend on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on the part about them. Kind of, they played with a team that I think everybody considers a championship contender. You know, and it's what you got to do. And they were on the road, and so sometimes things just don't go your way. I think for LA, I'm gonna start with a couple things about LA. LA's probably got to have some feelings going into this game, seeing their former quarterback on the other side, knowing about the quote unquote staff addition that's incoming. Um, I don't know. I don't think that's going to affect their play at all. LA has the defensive personnel to play with Houston. The question is, can their offense do enough to keep up if Houston has one of those huge offensive games that they do from time to time? But they have the players to do it. Robert Johnson did what we expected him to do last week. We're going to need more of that. And Jack Flash was probably overlooked, which is kind of unfair. He just didn't get used in Carolina that much. He showed he can be a serious contributor, and that bodes well for them. Bodes really well for them. I've got 3 keys for LA to win this game. One, don't give Houston extra chances. That seems kind of elementary, but Houston in particular, don't give them extra chances. Just don't control the ball. That's kind of connected to the first one, but it doesn't have to necessarily be control the clock, although that could happen. But they need, again, it goes with move the ball, first downs, score when they've got the chance, all of that stuff. Keep the ball in their possession as much as possible. And then I think the law firm of Flash, Johnson, and Reed needs about 250 total yards. If they get that, and then all the extra stuff they get from the other guys on the team, that'll be pretty good. I said at the beginning of the season, I think LA's challenge is going to be they don't have a lot of their money tied up in their offense just yet. Those guys are going to have to grow a little bit, and so I think that's kind of the key for them. Excuse me, forgive me for that. Houston, on the other hand, reminds me of Grant High School in Portland. They always have a lot of athletes. They sometimes beat good teams, and they let you know about it when it happens, and then have some inexplicable losses. They're scary to prepare for, and nobody seriously considers them a title contender. Might be overlooked in the aftermath of that Jared Willis performance, but you just mentioned it. They played with Jacksonville pretty well. They showed some things. They showed what they're capable of doing. I felt like Jacksonville took their foot off the throttle a little bit, but that doesn't take away what Houston did. Houston only has 2 keys as far as I'm concerned. Be underwater on the turnover battle. Again, not rocket science. And then unleash Murray. Murray had 100 yards. Yeah, we've seen what happens when Murray gets those obscene numbers. They usually win. And so, and I'm sure they always try to unleash Murray. But if they can do that again this week, then LA is going to have their work cut out for them.
So here's the interesting thing. I agree with you. Warren Murray, 100 yards last week, but no touchdowns, right? On the flip side, though, Robert Johnson, 150 yards and a touchdown in their game against San Diego. Sully outplayed E.T. King. So in every aspect, now granted, LA played San Diego and Houston had to play Vancouver, but statistically, week 1, LA definitely outshined Houston. I kind of think Sully's going to be the key for LA because we talked about it last week or the other night on Tuesday. Houston had a running back rush for over 100 yards and 2 receivers catch for over 100 yards, but they still lose the game. If they do that against LA, though, you think they win?
It comes down to the turnovers. Like I said, if Sully plays relatively mistake-free football, then that's a toss-up. If he doesn't, that's enough. And I think Houston wins that game.
Okay. Jack's data has LA on the road favored by 6.5. That's a pretty big spread for a new team traveling on the road. Over under a 48.5, so about average, maybe a little less than average on points. But in the Who You Got SFL Nation, overwhelmingly taking LA 117-49. So not a lot of SFL faith, even after watching a great contest Houston put up against Jacksonville. Not a lot of faith in Houston going into week 2, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I think some of that is just backlash about the other stuff. I think some people aren't going to give Houston a chance in games when they should because of that. And I get it, but like I said before, Houston scary to prepare for. But you never know what you're going to get from them, and you know.
Right. Hey, real quick, I'm sorry. Hey, Jeremy, if it's about the naming of your stadium, Cam came on After Dark and talked about that, but you're more than welcome to put it in the chat again, or even come on After Dark after Mike St. Green if you want to mention it. So if it's something different, then by all means throw it in there. I just want to let you know. All right, Coach, thank you. Moving on to game 2 on Saturday. My team, Lone Star, power ranked 5th in the AP poll, traveling to number 19, Carolina. Now, Carolina had a rough week, Eddie, in week 1, losing to Vegas. You know what? I think it was like 22-10, 20-10, something like that. Be honest with you, we were very impressive. We just happened to be firing on all cylinders in week 1. I think a lot of that was just because it was a revenge game for us. And we really felt like we had something to prove in week 1 against Florida. Do you think Lone Star continues that into week 2, or do you think Carolina rebounds from week 1?
Oh, Carolina, I got some friends over there, but I hate to say it, but I think they are going to possibly run into a buzzsaw when they play you guys. I mean, I was not expecting Lone Star's offense to come out and do what they did versus Florida. I mean, I expected them to put up points, but not in the term of, what was it, 45 points you guys put up? I mean, that was insane. I don't think anyone predicted that. Mighty has consistently been, and I think Cam even hit on this in the playoffs game last season that he was broadcasting, and how Mighty has been finished top 5 in defense, in total defense the past 5 seasons. So for you guys to put up that kind of output against him, barring the fact that he didn't have any tape with you guys now having 3 wide receivers, is impressive nonetheless. I mean, you guys dominated the ball, both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. I mean, you guys came out, and I think it was 21-0, like 5 minutes inside the first quarter. It was just insane. I mean, whether it was running the ball, passing the ball, you guys did pretty much everything you wanted to do. I think one of Florida's lone bright spots was Charlie Belitsky, but I don't think he even got his first carry until they were already down 14-0. So, I mean, they threw a pick that was, I think Gunny returned for a touchdown. They had another interception.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were just clicking, and I had to just look at him like, man, this just cannot be the Florida defense that I've been known to count on to shut offenses down. But you guys found a way. I'm sure Charles has been in the playbook all off season, because you guys went out there and proved it.
Hey, Eddie, real quick. People in the chat are saying you're really low. Can you either turn your mic up or go closer to your microphone?
How about now?
There you go.
All right.
Somebody, you said you had a noise cancellation hoodie on. Attaboy, Hugo. That was funny. Go ahead, Eddie. Sorry.
Ace Fennick was money. I mean, only 4 of his 34 attempted pass attempts even hit the ground. I mean, that he didn't throw a pick. I mean, you guys were just. I got to give it to you, Dave. I mean, you guys put in some work this offseason, because that offense looked. I mean, I had my concerns because you guys were going to a 3 wide receiver set, and you haven't done that all last season. Even in 3rd and long, you came out with the two wide receiver, 1 tight end set, and to see you guys go out there and put on a display the way you did. I mean, you like the St. Louis Rams of old for a moment back there. I mean, and you, surprisingly enough, was the main target. I think you had like 11 catches.
Yeah, I had like 27 catches for 27 yards or something.
It was for 60-something yards, but I mean, nonetheless, I mean, you put on a great show, and I think Carolina is gonna have a hard time dealing with this if he finds the way to continue spreading the ball around the way he did. They came out there, and I was expecting Carolina to put up more of an offensive performance the way they played the second half of the season once they replaced the offensive coordinator. And to see that not happen, once again, Logan Jack finished. I think he had 17 catches, and once their new OC came in last season, he kind of got away from that, and to see them go right back to that this season was kind of disappointing, considering the way their offense played in the second half of last season. So I expect them to get in the lab and try to get that rectified and find a way to get their receivers more involved. But until I can see that for myself, I got Lone Star winning this game.
Let me ask you, Xander Gold had the worst QBR for week one, only one touchdown and 5 interceptions.
Yep.
Obviously, he's going to need to turn his play around, I think, for Carolina to have a chance. Do you think he turns his play around, or do you think he's going to have another rough go at it this week? I mean, uh, who's Carolina's running back in Logan Jack? Logan Jack rushed for almost 100 yards. He just didn't have any touchdowns.
He did. I mean, Heath McDaniel was their OC, and like I said, he replaced their previous OC mid-season, somewhere around week 7, something like that, right before he played us, of course. But I, to see Logan Jack get that many touches through the air, I did not anticipate that, and I'm sure Las Vegas didn't either if they watched the last few games that they played. So if they get in the lab and find a way to get their receivers more involved. I mean, Harish Prasad, I've said this many times. If you run Sims against him or in practice mode or anywhere else, he is one of the better route runners in the entire SFL, and second place isn't even close. I don't
Right.
care if your first name is Gabriel, your last name is Manning. Harish Prasad, you heard it here first, is the best route runner in the entire SFL. And if they can find a way to get him more involved in the offense, the sky's the limit for that team offensively.
Well, Jack's data has Lone Star favored by 7.5, which is tied for the largest spread in week two, with an over under of about 52.5, which is about middle of the pack. But again, another overwhelming vote in the Who You Got by SFL Nation has Lone Star 124 to only 45 for Carolina. Eddie, thank you, bro. Um, let's move on to game 3 on Saturday. This is going to be an interesting game, Coco. You got Jacksonville, who is one of the best teams. They're ranked 4th in the AP. Traveling to Florida, ranked 17th. So Florida had a rough game week 1 against Lone Star. Jacksonville had a tough game against the Houston team, but they pulled it out. But now they have to travel on the road. Does Florida have a chance here, or is Jacksonville going to roll?
I mean, I don't even know if I should talk about Florida. I think Eddie just spent about 20 minutes talking about it. Yeah, I mean, there was things in that game versus you that many of us, I think, weren't expecting. And it wasn't so much from an LSG standpoint. LSG, of course, this is their true first off season. Now they have their pieces in place. Charles and coach and everyone else on that team can sit and was able to sim and kind of get a feel for what they wanted to run. I mean, some of the things that surprised me coming out of Florida was some of the they 3-3. Of course, they're designed to run nickel. But I think it was 3-3, maybe 3-2 that I was seeing out of them, and really, you guys were just able to expose them. Of course, you got another season of your fullback developing. Was that Collier?
Yeah.
And it showed. There was even, you guys needed 5 to 7 yards, and you guys were just able to go straight through the middle for them. So that's one of the concerns that I have with Florida, but it's not really. It's Mighty. I think Mighty can adjust his defense based off of it. Um, but from that standpoint, from Florida's defensive standpoint, I think there's things out of Jacksonville we haven't seen. Of course, Jacksonville is very much like Vancouver. There's always that rivalry because, they kind of run somewhat risky playbooks. You could see it. They had Trey open sets that came out a lot in those third down situations. But there's something in Jacksonville that we hadn't seen, and we didn't see Iggy Swift at all. Um,
Mm.
there was a lot of empty sets. There was a lot of single back sets. Um, almost had to watch the game twice. I didn't see any Iggy whatsoever. And I apologize if Iggy Swift was out there. But that's something I think if you go to Florida and their game planning, there's things that possibly couldn't have come out. I mean, they could have just been really lucky or unfortunate, however you want, in Jacksonville. But that's something that they're gonna be able to attack Florida with, and it's gonna be kind of hard for them to plan against that. The only bright side of that is, LSG kind of is really effective at running that halfback behind full block.
So you don't do you think that I mean Jared Willis rushed for 251 yards against Houston last week, right? You don't see him being able to run behind Iggy against Florida the same way they did Houston then?
No, I mean that's what I'm saying is there's runs that Jacksonville will be able to pull off that we didn't even see last week, and that's kind of the scary thing.
Oh,
Is
okay.
if you look at some of their runs, I'm trying to remember. I apologize for not remembering his name. Their wide
Well,
receiver, number 11, he was throwing off blocks like nobody's business on some of those long runs, and they were stretch plays to the outside. And this is a team that they have other ways to kill you in the run game, let alone the passing game.
yeah, I mean they've got the receivers. Obviously, they got Ken Gossett Jr. and those guys. Um, I think too, Coco. I think Christian Christensen only threw for 197 yards on 32 attempts, only one touchdown with 3 picks. One of the lowest 5 QBRs for Week 1. I have a feeling he'll probably rebound as well since he's got some great targets to throw to, and that should probably help them in Florida, I would imagine.
Yeah, as I said, I think there's parts of that playbook that either they're waiting to, you can only switch over so much per week, but there's things in there that we definitely didn't even touch upon or see in that game versus Houston, and it was a good game versus Houston. Actually, Houston,
Oh,
again,
Houston played great, yeah.
the Mon always puts together a good game plan, and even though they had a lot of people from the draft, the thing is with a defense, if you can lack a couple animations, but if you have good base stats, you can put a good game plan together, and it showed. Um,
Well, let me tell you, Jack's data has themselves, Jacksonville, favored by only 3.5. So on the road at Florida, regardless what happened in Week 1, I think that even Jack's data sees that it's going to be hard to go against their rival on the road. Over under is 51.5. That's about in the middle of the pack. And SFL Nation, another big spread, 125-40 for Jacksonville. So again, not a lot of love for Florida going into Week 2. Coco, thank you, bro.
okay.
Um, Game 4 for Saturday, fourth game on the docket. This is an interesting game. You got number 9 in the AP versus traveling to number 12 with the AP. Queen City had, I think, a great, tough fought battle victory against Fort Worth. St. Louis also squeaked out a victory, maybe not against such as a tough of an opponent, but they get the win. Uh, I don't know, Michael. Queen City at St. Louis. If this game's in Queen City, I'm probably leaning Queen City. But because it's in St. Louis, do you think that makes a difference and gives St. Louis the edge with a potential upset?
Oh yes, Lewis will definitely see some uptick for them being at home, having the friendly fines for them. Um, the the one thing to note here is um, this may be an aerial game. We might see an air show here because neither team, their running wasn't very effective last week. Now, granted, Queen City's 2 touchdowns did come off of runs, but it wasn't very big runs.
Mm-mm.
Um, and this is the game where Queen City is going to try building up towards their next 100 victories, and it's going to be tough. They're going to have to be effective in the first half, unlike the last game where they just couldn't get it done in the first half of the game.
I'm sorry, Mike. Why are we talking about Cam punching me in the face in the chat? What the hell is going? I look away for a few minutes and Cam wants to abuse everyone, and then my name comes up. I don't know. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead and finish.
Hold on. I can
No,
I can
no.
tell you exactly what that
Oh,
was.
hold on. Winkler, go ahead and
Cam
explain what's
says
going
he
on.
doesn't know what it is about the panel, but he feels like he needs to take one of these guys out to dinner and punch one of them in the
Punch one of
face. He just doesn't know which is which.
Okay, well, he did say panel, and I'm not on the panel, so I'm off the hook. That's good. And Ace, look at Ace Fennec coming to my defense. Atta boy, Ace. All right, Mike. Sorry, this is what happens when you go, unscripted and all that stuff. Things happen. Go ahead and finish. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So yeah, neither running back had a very great day last week. Um, neither one averaged more than 2.5 yards per carry. So the focus here is going to be whoever can get their running game going is probably going to squeak this one out. But it's going to be a hard fought battle in the in Lewis there.
To your point, Mike, I'm looking at the stats right now. Jet Zero and Cairo Martinez combined for 75 yards rushing last week. That's not going to get it done. Now, granted, both these teams have great defenses, right? We know Queen City has a
They
great
do.
defense. We know St. Louis has a great defense. Um, when you look at the quarterback play last week, Christian Brown had a decent game as a rookie, almost 300 yards, threw for 2 touchdowns, but he threw 2 picks, which is a little rough. The problem is AJ Caswell, only 247 yards on 38 attempts, no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So, based on what happened in week one, I kind of see maybe St. Louis having the edge in this one.
Yeah, and I'm kind of leaning this way. I mean, especially after that amazing game that Eagle put up last week with all those catches, 13 receptions for 152 yards, and getting into the end zones 2 times. Um, yeah, AJ is gonna have to find his men a little bit easier this week. He's gonna really have to work hard against this defense. But I mean, he's got the guys that can do it. He's got James Matthews Jr. He's got Chris Curtis. He's got Christopher Ochoa. Those are three receivers that any team would be happy to have. I would be happy to have them in Jackson because they're going to get it done. But St. Louis has an amazing defense, and that's what carried them to most of their victories last year. And I think that's going to help carry them into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, the Jack State, as you see, I don't know if you saw on the screen, but of course, Wink has the St. Louis matchup graphic at his fingertips. Jack's data agrees with us. They have St. Louis favored by 3 at home, but a really low over under. I think the second lowest over under for the week at only 44.5. So they are looking, looks like Jack's data is looking at another defensive battle for Queen City. The who you got, still pretty big, not quite as big as the first three we talked about, but 105-62 actually in favor of Queen City. So SFL Nation liking Queen City on the road, the number 9 AP team traveling to the number 12 AP team. Mike, thank you, bro. Moving on to what I think, Coach, might be the game of the week. All right, Arizona. I mean, they balled out in Baltimore, right? They only lost by 6. They had a chance to go up and potentially win the game. Charleston really manhandled Mexico City basically the entire game until Mexico City had some late scores. Because Charleston's playing at home, is this the advantage that Charleston needs? Is Arizona going to have another tough road game that may end up in another close loss, or do you think Arizona can get it done this time on the road?
Well, it's a tall task, and this is, there are. I try to watch every game every week. I never miss an Arizona game, and I never miss a Charleston game. I always watch those no matter what.
Hopefully, hopefully, or a Lone Star game.
Yeah, yeah. Good point. No, I'm kidding. No, of course I've never missed a Lone Star game. Anyway, you threw me off my game there.
That's what I do, bro. That's what I'm here for.
I'm sure Eddie knows this, but for those of you in the back of the class that didn't read the class syllabus, Charleston runs what's known as a 12 personnel offense all the time. 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. They don't put money on the bench. That means that Eddie can't have any base defense in there. He's got to, or his nickelback is going to be on the bench the whole game, because there it is. Now, Eddie knows this. I know you know this. I know you do. I know you do. That makes them unique to prepare for. It makes them kind of a pain, and that's part of the deal. Then on defense, Charleston, they're lights out. They've always been lights out on defense. That's where they hang their hat. What Arizona needs to do, and Eddie, listen close, okay? Put all of your weekly coaching points on your fullback and your guards. AJ needs 30 touches. He needs to come between the guards on ISOs. He needs to go outside the tackles on power O and weak power O. And that boy needs to feast. The Hands brothers, out routes, spread the field, get everybody out there, and then no routes over the middle. that have multiple routes over the middle. Take them out. Take them out of the book. Give Charleston more chances. Just can't do it. I want to see DJ get 35 touches. 35 touches. All right.
There you go.
Enough of stepping on another man's in another man's shoes
Right,
and telling him what
right.
to do. You do what you do, Eddie. I'm always going to root for you, bro. Um, that gets to my point for the keys for Arizona. They can't have those devastating turnovers. It's not the thing with Arizona. They have a knack, and this is not a good thing. They have a knack for having turnovers at the worst possible times. You know, they're balling out. They've got a great roster, fantastic, and then bang. They might have one turnover, but it's going to be the worst possible time in the entire game, and they get their heart ripped out. Eddie's got to have aged about 50 years in the last couple of years.
Well, I'm sure.
He looks fantastic for it, by the way, but still, it's probably all that running in plastic that he does. If I did that, I'd be dead. Let's be honest. But then any turnovers they get from Charleston, they got to turn into points. Can't miss that opportunity because Charleston's not going to give you many opportunities for points. Going to be a big deal. They can do it. They have the roster. They can do that. Charleston, the classic game against Mexico City, lights out defense, opportunistic offense. Charleston, I noticed a few tweaks. Like I said, I watched all their games, and I was really interested. They were the first team to really embrace the 2 tight end thing. I was really interested in that. I saw a few plays in their game that we haven't seen. A few tweaks, just not a lot, just subtle, but a few things. And then I lost my notes. See, I should just go unscripted. Here we go. Keys for Charleston. Wow, that was a concussion moment. Just chalk that up. Keys for Charleston. They got to score 20 points or more. All right. If Charleston scores 20 points or more, their defense is usually solid enough to win the game for them. 3 or more turnovers. They have to cause 3 or more turnovers, and they got to keep the pressure on. If they have a turnover of their own, they gotta not let Arizona capitalize. If they do that, Charleston football, they win this thing. If Arizona can do what I said, they have a chance to come in and do this, and that would be a big win for them because I think we saw last week Charleston struggled a little bit. We talked all season about that brutal schedule. They had so many close games. This is still a team. If you remember, I picked them to be in the playoffs, go deep in the playoffs last season. Alan was mad at me for setting the bar so high. There was a whole thing. But this is still, they brought everybody back. This is still a tough team. They still do what they do. They're unique to prepare for. Eddie's got his work cut out for him. Coaching points on the guards. Do the coaching points on the guards. Put the heck out of that thing between the guards, baby. Just bludgeon them. That's your bet because you don't want to challenge that defensive backfield too much. So.
Well, Bridge City Bird says this has been an SFL pep talk hosted by Coach Craven and sponsored by Dr. Pepper. So there you go. Attaboy, Coach. Also, Denver.
I get excited.
Yeah, apparently you do. No, that's great. I love it. Jeremy Vega posted, if you want to beat Charleston, just line up your Hall of Fame kicker for a 55-yard game-winning bomb. Duh. Yeah, not everybody has that, Jeremy, unfortunately. Real quick, Coach, let me ask you just a quick question. The difference last week, though, between Keith Swearengin running for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns, DJ Moses only 46 yards and no touchdowns. But, and you talked about DJ Moses needing to run. What about the quarterback play? Ashley came out the gate kind of rough, only 1 touchdown, 4 picks, and only a couple hundred yards on 32 attempts. Is Ashley Jackson the difference in this game? If she plays well, does Arizona win this game?
Well, sure. I mean, obviously 4 turnovers, that's no good. But again, that's why I say no multiple routes over the middle. Give her a chance. I mean, give her a chance to not have to thread the needle quite so much. Listen, I've said this many times on my own show and otherwise. The game has changed. Even the weakest, and I'm using air quotes, defenses are stacked compared to what they were when we had 12 or even 17 contract players. There are stars at every level. Some of our teams have 6 defensive backs. The game has changed, and we can't throw. And now we're on legendary settings, and we're seeing differences there. Got to work harder in the passing game. You got to work outside the seam or outside the hash marks a little bit more. and you've got to do things to force the defense. You got to spread the defense out, and so I'd really love to see that. I'd love to see Hands brothers with a chance to do. I want to see one of the Hands brothers have 27 catches for 19 yards like you did or whatever. I'm kidding, but I want to see something happen like that. I want to see teams start to do that, put pressure on the outside rather than up the middle. And everyone that's coached knows this is tough because the playbook is heavy on plays over the middle. And I think that's probably by design from APF. Playbook is heavy on plays over the middle. You really got to work to find ones that can spread it out, work it outside. But I think that's the ticket. I think that's, I mean, it's no secret. You just got to watch our game. That was our game plan against Florida. Stay outside the hash marks and short control passing game. And I really think that some teams need to look at that a little bit. And I don't care. I don't feel like I'm giving away a secret. That's why I say that. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer. Forgive me for that.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, they have to limit those. Part of it is the play choices for Ashley. I don't care what I don't care what quarterback you are. It's a tough order to throw against those stacked defenses. It's a tough order to throw against this defense.
So here's the interesting thing, Coach. Ready for this? So Jack's data has Charleston favored by 7.5, which is the tie for the largest spread for the week, with an over/under of 52.5, which is about middle of the pack. Here's the interesting thing: Jack's data thinks Charleston by over a touchdown, but the who you got, SFL Nation, it's 91-81 Arizona. So I think the for the way you talked about this game, the Jack's data, the who you got, everything is pointing towards this being a close game and potentially being the game of the week. Coach, thanks for all that input. Appreciate it. Last game for Saturday, going back to you, Eddie Gage, Portland at Tulsa. Portland, I mean, Tulsa had the the AP ranking. This is probably the closest AP ranking we'll have. Portland ranked 22, Tulsa ranked 21. Tulsa's got home field advantage in this game, both with some tough week one losses. What do you think about this game? Does this game, is this an up and coming Portland team that's going to hand it to Tulsa, or is this Tulsa's homecoming game and they're going to take it to Portland?
To me, Dave, this is almost a pick 'em. I'm gonna try to keep this short because Coach just took up about 20 minutes. I wrote all those notes down, Coach, and yes, I got my work cut out for me, but I'm gonna try to win this one just for you. But but seriously, both of these teams are trying to get their first win of the season. Portland had the entire offseason to work on their offense. It's been the weakest part of their game, and to see them come out and with that performance, I'm sure they were frustrated. But it's week one, and week one is always the hardest to game plan for because you just don't know what kind of changes people are going to make. And unfortunately for them, they came out on a sweater and a stick. They were only 5 of 15 on third down, which is not going to cut it. But like Carolina, they put a lot of pressure on their defense because they too fed their running back, a lot. I mean, I don't mind them rushing the ball if you're effective doing that, which they were, but they also gave him the ball a ton. He finished with 14 catches. Granted, they were for 135 yards, but you want to spread the ball around if you're going to keep those defenses honest and get them out of that, stuff like cover two and robber and things like that. You got to find.
Hey, Eddie, I'm getting a lot of stuff in the chat saying they're having a hard time hearing you again.
Oh my God. I'm going to try. You know what? Next show, Dave, I'm going to find my microphone, unpack it out the box, and get ready for you guys. All right.
Okay. Appreciate that. And in the meantime, I guess you're just going to have to talk really loud.
Yeah, I'm just trying to talk louder. If Portland wants to have success, they held St. Louis to 22 points, which actually